southeastern part of India is the province of Bengal. Its area is 76,843 square miles. Its population, 60 million. Known as the land of rivers and lakes, Bengal was once a colossal lake dotted with patches of wild, intractable land, 3 of every 5 acres of which were once underwater. Man and nature fought a battle, and man won. Today, the plain of Bengal is rich and fertile, and grows large crops of rice and other staple foods. Telegraph and telephone wires straddle the countryside. Highways cut out of jungle tracks connect villages and towns hitherto isolated. Its wide rivers and the network of rail communication provide the necessary means of transport. Let us now visit a typical town in Bengal. Down the center runs the main street. The usual crowds, the usual traffic. The hub of a huge expanse of land. Huge, but just one part of Bengal. In the bazaars, there is the same buying and selling as everywhere in the world, only more colorful. Everywhere you go in Bengal, you find what this vendor is making, rasagullas, the most famous of Bengal's sweetmeats. There is age and a peculiar dignity about homes such as these, which are familiar features of Bengal. The more ancient the house, the longer the family tree. There is, of course, the Hindu temple, and not far away, the Muslim mosque, because in Bengal, for every one Hindu, there is one Muslim. And now we come to the civic center, round which the life of this town and its surrounding districts revolve. The mission house, the surgeon's house, the district magistrate's house, the school, and of course, the courthouse. At the heart of all these activities is a man in whose care and guidance is the welfare of 3 million people within a radius of 50 miles. He is the district officer, or as commonly known, the district magistrate. It is his duty to settle all matters brought to his court. He looks young to be treated with much respect, but years of study and training have equipped him with powers of judgment and a high sense of public duty for his responsible post. Let us go back to the time when he started on his first official assignment as Subdivisional Officer of the Indian Civil Service, in short, SDO. At his destination, he is greeted by his co-workers and introduced to other members of the administration. Then, with all his worldly goods and chattels precariously perched on what was once a flashy automobile, he is whirled away to his new home. His new home. Next day starts his round of inspection. First, the treasury, and then the jail. The first day in the courtroom is a strange experience for him, with a room full of peasants thrusting their various petitions upon him. But he's learned how to keep his head and tackle every problem with a calm and ordered mind. Inspecting the villages in his district is an important part of his work. The bullock cart, India's oldest method of transport, comes in handy over difficult roads, and when the road peters out, there is always the friendly horse. Arriving at the village, he is greeted by the elders and offered traditional Indian hospitality. His friendly manner soon wins their confidence, and they open their hearts to him. Part of his duties as subdivisional officer is to inspect the crops and to verify the reports of his subordinates. His sympathetic approach to their problems makes the peasants feel they have a friend. The next part of his tour is done by bicycle to meet the irrigation officer and glean information for his reports. The journey continues, a little more comfortably this time. And one stretch by boat is cool and very beautiful. It takes him to an outlying hospital where a little band of devoted workers fight the battle against Bengal's greatest scourge, malaria. As subdivisional officer, he has acquitted himself well. Direct contact with the people in his care has given him valuable experience, and in a few years, he rises to Additional District Magistrate, ADM, until, at 30, he is District Magistrate, with an area under his direction about as big as Switzerland, and with over 3 million people who look to him to solve their many and various problems. But no matter how many hours he puts in at the office, how many visitors he manages to see, no matter how young and active he may be, looking after the welfare of 3 million people is obviously a task too big for one man. Therefore, he has a body of other administrators working for him. Miles away from him, in every village, is a union board. Here is the president directing a meeting, deciding knotty questions about their way of life. They discuss improvements for the village school, the village health. They analyze the well water, which is the village's only source of drinking water. The terrible diseases of typhoid and cholera spread by impure drinking water must be prevented. The Union Board decides that a ditch with stagnant water must be filled in, fighting back the most prevalent disease in these parts, malaria. It decides that a part of the jungle must be hacked down to make way for a road. In many parts of Bengal, these faithful animals still carry man's burden. The Union Board also decides what trees in the forest may be cut down and what may not for the supply of wood. In the village there is an open-air court where the local superintendent arbitrates in minor disputes which could be settled on the spot without reference to the overtaxed city court. Another important aid to the district magistrate is the irrigation officer. In Bengal, his task is as much to keep the water out of the fields as to let it in. The civil surgeon has a vast responsibility. Under his control are 50 hospitals and many free dispensaries with which to combat the many ills often prevalent in such a thickly populated area. Lastly, there is the police superintendent, directly responsible to the district magistrate for peace and order. In wartime, the district magistrate must maintain a close contact with the military authorities and render them all possible assistance. And now, having gathered all the reports of his subdivisional officers as well as his own notes and recommendations, he is ready to report to the provincial capital at Calcutta. Back home again, he entertains his friends. After all, even the district magistrate must have some relaxation. Besides, it is essential for him to keep in touch with public opinion. The guests have gone. Perhaps he could squeeze a few more moments of work before going to bed. But can he? Well, let's call it a day and take the files to bed. But not for long. It's an emergency call from an outlying district. A river has burst its banks. Lives are threatened. He must go at once. He may be away a few days. As a public servant, he is always ready to give his time and energy, because his life is dedicated to the service and welfare of the people in his care.